So, it interested us that you studied fine art, and what made you decide to pursue a career in dance instead of art?
I'm a very physical person, so I've always done a lot of sports and movement, and I was in a cycling club and jiu-jitsu club, and I did drawing and photography as well, so I felt like the kind of combination of the two seems to kind of work into dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you say that your fine art background influences your choreography?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I always do a lot of drawing and sketching when I'm making a new piece, and I always look at visual arts to like inform my process.
Are there any other choreographers you'd say that influence the way you move or the pieces you created?
I think probably my influence is just by lots of different things. I wouldn't say necessarily choreographers, but like artists or real life more than anything.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I do get inspired by some people, but then I kind of use it more as a way of moving on, and not instead of taking what they've got.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So your work is very energetic and physical. Is this intentional, or is it just the way that you move personally?
It's just a little bit my personal characteristics, I think. I like dynamic in people in general, and I like just to look at work that's got some kind of a range of different dynamics. I'm not so interested in work that only has one dynamic. I always draw like dynamic lines before I make a piece to see where it goes up and where it slows down, and how that kind of energy develops in the piece.
Yeah. So would you say that your work is more movement-based or more narrative-based?
Yeah, it's movement-based, yeah, definitely. But it's always stems from a very kind of clear kind of research in movement through like some kind of tasks and some kind of concepts. So, we have like more theatrical ways of working, but it ends up with kind of an abstract dance piece.
Okay. So, if you could give one piece of advice to our dancers who are pursuing a career in dance, what would it be?
Just do it because you really love it, because you really want to do it, I suppose. Yeah, I think, and also don't give up because it's quite a difficult life. Sometimes you get a job, sometimes you don't, and people will refuse you, and people will accept you, and there will be no money involved, and it's like very much you have to give a lot of yourself. Yeah. If you're not prepared to do that, it's quite difficult.
Yeah.
I think you just have to keep going, and just always, always do it. Just do it. Yeah. Basically, it's like Nike. Yeah. Just do it. Yeah.
So do you split your time between London and Belgium, or do you work more in London or Belgium? Or?
Well, we have an office in Nottingham, in the East Midlands.
Okay.
And we also work in Antwerp, because that's where I live. So we kind of divide the work between the two countries. And I quite like that. I think it's really useful for the arts to be seen in different contexts. I think when I work in Antwerp, I feel like it's a very different vibe to when I work in Nottingham. So, and it influences the way I work and the way I work with people in Nottingham. They like do different things because I'm from Antwerp, and the other way around as well.
Yeah. So the piece that you created for us here, if you could sum it up in a couple of sentences for us, what does it kind of embody?
Well, I'm trying to get them to move in my style. It's really important for them to kind of get a new physical language. And then I'm trying to also find them to look for their own personal language. So I've been thinking about codes, how everybody's got their own personal codified kind of personality or being, and that as a starting point for the piece.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, it does, yeah. So are you looking to look at them as individuals, or do you want them to have, because there's a lot of unison in the piece, so...
Not yet, yeah, at the moment, yes, but they have solo material that they've developed, and we've looked at some characteristics of the people have told about them to make new material. At the moment, I mean, it's still difficult to say. It's the third day today, so it's still going to change a lot. But I think, I don't know, to be honest. It's developing. Yeah. So I'll probably can answer you this tomorrow or Friday.
Okay. So for a title for the piece, have you thought of anything?
Yes, I've got a title called Argot.
Okay.
Argot, and it means it's like a secret language between people. Like in the French Revolution, people had the way they talked to each other. That people from the government didn't understand. So it's like a little secret. So I like the idea of having a code between them. So they have like a secret code that only they know what it is.
Okay.
And it kind of informs their movement.
Yeah, that's interesting. Would you say that this piece is a lot different from pieces you've created before, or does it have similar elements to other pieces?
Yeah, I think it's got a similar movement quality. Yeah, and I mean it's because I didn't know them before I arrived, so therefore it's obviously a bit different. But yeah, it's just very much my style of work.
Yeah. So is it how different is it working with students compared to professional dancers?
That's a good question. I mean, they're very good students actually because they haven't got any tension. A lot of the time when you work with a particular school of training, they might be very much into ballet, and then you have to kind of get them to move on the floor or release their joints, and these guys are already very released, so it's a bit, you can go further in the movement quality, which is quite exciting.
Yeah.
With professionals, there are so many different types of professionals, and even when we do an audition, 75% of the dancers are not kind of right for my work because they've been trained for a specific style. So it's just kind of finding this kind of balance, what fits with me and who do I fit with, and then kind of make it work.
Yeah.
Do you use lighting closely when you work? So do you have a lighting in mind, when you have a piece in mind, do you have a lighting that in mind?
Yeah, I always work with a lighting designer, but it's very much like a process. I'm sending, in the beginning, there's like, we have this thing called Evernote. Do you know Evernote? It's like an internet filing system. But you can link it with other people, so I put some images on there and he puts some images on there. We start looking at what's possible with lights and how that could inform the work, and then kind of it's developed over time.
So it's very much a collaboration.
Yeah. I think it's very important to collaborate if you have musicians or composers and lighting designers and visual artists all work together. Really.
Yeah, it's really nice to know.
Following on from that, you use set in some of your pieces. Does that play a big part in the choreography?
It's only the second time we have used. In the current piece, Corporalis, we have a moving wall that kind of folds and makes the space really small and then really big. And it's amazing. It really changes how you perceive the body.
Yeah.
It's quite cool.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
very simple, but it's really nice. And the lighting and that is amazing.
Yeah. Well, thank you for answering our questions. That's really helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.